Hello, everyone. One of the major items reported by multiple news sources, both in the US and in Europe, is the downgrade of a meeting that was supposed to take place between the US, the UK, and Ukraine in London. Initially, the meeting was intended to discuss the possibility of another ceasefire. I don't know why, but that was the purpose. Instead, it was downgraded to a technical meeting after Rubio and Witkoff decided not to participate. Instead, the meeting will include senior officials from the UK, France, Germany, Ukraine, and less senior officials from the US, and at the same time, UK Foreign Secretary will host a bilateral meeting with Ukrainian Foreign Secretary. So basically, this is just another step in US realizing that this cannot be ended nicely and neatly because somebody said so. This can't be ended in 24 hours or 24 days or possibly even 24 weeks. And now that it's proving too complicated, the US is slowly but surely withdrawing. And this is not the only incident that suggests so. Even with this reformatted meeting, there's not a whole lot of clarity as to what is on the agenda, what is the purpose of this. Here's the thing. Russia made it clear they're not interested in making any concessions. They want to hack a piece of Ukraine, right? Ukraine finds this unacceptable, rightfully so. It's their territory. Why should they give it up? Not to mention the history of human rights violation and discriminations against non-Russian nationals in any and all territories ever invaded by Russia. So, everything logically suggests that giving Russia a fifth of Ukraine is a bad idea. And it's not going to achieve anything. However, while everybody acknowledges, well, not everybody, but a lot of people acknowledge that this is a bad idea, few are willing to stand up and say, okay, we have to use force. Macron did that. Occasionally, Keir Starmer did that, but that's about it. Now, other allies have taken some actions that suggest they understand the seriousness of the situation, such as rearming, allocating more of their GDP to aid Ukraine. So that counts too. But the general mood is that everybody is hoping that somebody will somehow defeat Russia, but they are all hoping that someone else will do it. And there is no someone else. Another suggestion that the US is favoring Russia and is basically giving up on any pretense of helping Ukraine is this. Trump administration fires coordinator who was responsible for collecting data on Russia's war crime in Ukraine, according to Washington Post. So what was that all about? Basically, the Justice Department's War Crime Accountability Team has been disbanded, and the post of the coordinator was initially created in accordance with law that was co-authored by Congressman Mike Waltz, who is the current National Security Advisor. So now they are saying, no, Not interesting. And I agree with Congressman Jason Crow, who said, hey, if you want peace, you have to hold responsible the person who has violated that peace in the first place, and everybody knows who that is. At the same time, we also have the withdrawal of the U.S. from the International Center for the Prosecution of Crimes of Aggression against Ukraine, which the U.S. initially joined in 2023, the year after the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. So all of these signs indicate that the U.S. is basically just bailing. Meanwhile, the war is still going on, and the civilians are still being murdered by the Russian military. Here's another one. They attacked a bus. This is something, by the way, I mentioned before when people ask me, why can't your parents just get the hell out of there? This is a prime example. So initially, when there was a huge exodus of Ukrainian civilians from the eastern Ukraine, the portion of Ukraine that was more heavily under attack, Ukrainian government did try to negotiate some kind of safety procedure to allow the civilians to get out. The Russian government refused. They refused to provide the green corridors for people to evacuate, and they basically said, if we see a caravan of cars or minivans or buses or trucks, we are going to treat it like a military object, which means we're going to bomb the shit out of it regardless. So this is a prime example of what happens. This was a civilian bus. This was not a military object. This took place across the river from Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. At least 30 people were injured, 9 people were killed, that we know of. A bus. Explain this one to me. And this is again where I applaud some of both Democrat and Republican lawmakers who gathered their balls together and went and visited Ukraine, because they saw. And they had an eye-opening experience. Not enough, and unfortunately not high-ranking enough. Well, the only choice Ukraine has at this point is to continue dishing it out as it gets. So there has been a series of explosions at one of the largest weapons arsenals in the Vladimir region. I actually saw the videos and the photographs from the ground. This, as far as I'm concerned, is good news. And again, to anybody who says that it's a ceasefire violation, shut up. So why is this not a ceasefire violation? First of all, Russia said that ceasefire was null and void, because why would they observe something they had no intention of observing in the first place? Second, this is not part of the energy infrastructure, and it's not a civilian object. It is an arsenal, and a big one. So, we don't know yet the level of damage caused. What we do know that this facility was the 51st Arsenal of the Main Missile and Artillery Directorate. What that means is that whatever was stored there was big. Not just small drones. No, probably not guided bombs, although that's possible, but big shells, big missiles. And we could probably ask the Allies for satellite imagery on this, but judging by the photographs and videos from the ground, it was a formidable explosion. That's Ukraine for you. More to come.